All right, hey, what's up guys? GratuiTous here. I'm just out on a little bike ride, brought the camera along and thought I would do a little intro before the actual tutorial about what is a ROMpler. Now, I want to tell you guys that my highest suggestion to you guys when you're first getting started learning beat making is to use a ROMpler. Don't worry about synthesizers, like things like Serum or Silent One. Those can come later when you want to kind of try and find your own sound. But as a beat maker, it's all about trying to find how to create catchy melodies. And so when you use a ROMpler, it's going to allow you to learn to create catchy melodies. You don't have to worry so much about trying to learn synthesis. You can pick your sound and you can start learning to create catchy melodies, right? So if you don't know about music theory and how to create melodies, that's the first thing that you need to learn, okay? So number one, you need to learn to create catchy melodies, and using a ROMpler is going to help you do that. Now, Flex by Image-Line is awesome. It's a newer ROMpler out there. Awesome ROMpler. Nexus, I started on Nexus 2. So Nexus 2 was awesome. There was Nexus 3 I upgraded to. I currently have not upgraded to Nexus 4. Seems like there's some kind of controversy in the industry with some people thinking that the upgrade was more of a money grab than an actual worth the money. But if you don't have Nexus, I do want to say that purchasing Nexus 4, if you don't have Nexus, is definitely worth the purchase in my opinion. I really like the sounds of Nexus, I like the workflow of Nexus, but Flex is very, very similar, okay? So what is a ROMpler? So it's ROM, and when you buy certain equipment, like in the world, like sometimes you cannot remove certain things from a piece of hardware, and that's, I guess, called like the ROM, I guess, or like CD-ROM. You know, for example, if you were to burn music onto a CD, like that music is now burnt into that CD, and I guess like that's where like the ROM comes from. But anyways, so again, check out Flex, check out Nexus, and I promise you, if you stick with just those two ROMplers for the time being, when you're first getting started learning, you are going to learn beat making way faster. You're going to learn to create catchy melodies, because that is what you need to focus on as a beat maker. Now, creating one catchy melody is one thing, but being able to teach yourself to create catchy melodies that go together, that is the whole goal as a beat maker, right? So if we have a piano, a guitar, and a bass line, your goal as the beat maker is to learn to create the catchy melodies that all go together. Again, I'm really big on using MIDI to create our melodies, not using MIDI loops or stuff like that. I'm huge on creating so improvisation, knowing how to play the piano as a beat maker, right? You guys can check out my piano course on that. But catchy melodies, that's what it's all about as a beat maker. And if you are using a ROMpler, I promise you're going to learn way faster. So let's hop into FL Studio. I'm just going to play around a little bit with Flex, a little bit with Nexus, and I'll just show you how fast I am able to make beats with ROMplers. And you eventually will be able to create your beats very fast as well, because it's all about training your ear for the sound selection, okay? If you are in these synthesizers, the ones that you can kind of manually create your own sounds from, you're gonna go kind of like in a circle. You're gonna be trying to make the melody, then you're gonna try and do some sound design, and you're never gonna get past that point. You wanna get past that point to learn how to create catchy melodies, learn how to choose wise sound selection, and using a ROMpler like Flex or Nexus is gonna do that for you. So let's hop into FL Studio, and I'll give you a little preview of Flex and Nexus. All right, so here we are in FL Studio. So I got Flex opened up as well as Nexus, okay? So these are technically what you call ROMplers. Now, Flex technically isn't a ROMpler, so anytime in FL Studio, you can hit F1. It's gonna take you to the help manual. And so this is what they say Flex is. So Flex is a preset-based synthesizer. And so preset-based is what I'm trying to get across to you. When you're learning beat making, it's all about knowing wise sound selection, as well as learning how to create catchy melodies. And so if you can select just good high quality sounds, it's going to allow you to get in there much easier. You're not going to have to learn subtractive synthesis, wavetable synthesis, right? We keep it simple. Now, you can learn that stuff as you start to progress, but when you're first starting, you're going to try and do sound design, you're going to try to make the beat, you're going to try and select sounds. And so what I'm trying to tell you guys is something like Flex, which I'm just going to classify as a ROMpler. How Flex works is they, have their sound designers, they make the sounds, and then those banks, which is right here, are available for purchase, and you can just select the sounds, okay? Same thing with Nexus, right? We have, you just select a bank. So Dance 2 is just like, let's say, Essential Strings. That's a bank. Inside that bank, you have your different categories, such as like bell, and then same in here. So if I go strings, you have tags down here, and this is how you can start getting categorized, all right? When I read through the help manual for Flex, a couple things I found out, which I want to pass on to you guys. You can click the Flex logo and you can change the theme, the skin. All right. And I like this blue one. And again, you can right click and that menu stays open, which is a newer feature in FL Studio. You can also double click here if you want to do that as well. I read in the help manual there. But for the most part, as you can see, Flex is a pretty simple interface, and that's awesome because you as the beat maker, especially if you're just learning, you just need to be able to pick a sound, right? Something like this. Again, I'm not doing a review on Flex. I'm not doing a review on Nexus. But one thing I want to say is because Image-Line's plugins usually are really intuitive in terms of workflow. And so let's just say, so first of all, I'm going to click on all. Okay, what that's going to do is it's going to select all presets from all the banks I have downloaded. Let's say I want some piano. Okay, now if I have all selected, that means that whatever I select has to follow those rules. Okay, all the rules have to apply. So if I want piano, I want it to be bright. These are all the pianos that are bright sounding. And then let's say we want bright and hard. You can see there's one preset. Now check this out. Since I have two highlighted, you can right click and it deselects the other ones and it will just highlight the one that you want. And so that's just like the workflow. FL Studio usually, or Image-Line usually always thinks that way for workflow. Okay. Now, if you were to select any, so anything you select applies. And so your list can start growing. All right. So let's hop into some projects where I have used Nexus and I have used Flex. Again, it's all about learning workflow. Okay, so I have a couple beats which I've mostly made with Flex, sometimes Harmer, sometimes 3x oscillator, and a little bit of Nexus. But so for me, or I have my voice enabled here for some reason, so I'll just disable that. So it's all about Y sound selection. So here is inside of Essential Strings, we got this sound loaded up. So one thing to say is sometimes certain presets, sometimes they don't play in, in lower octaves. Okay, as you can see, those aren't playing, but once I hit the certain octave, now it's going to work. Okay, so something like this. Let's just go to another sound. So here's another kind of cool sound. Right, so just nice quick sounds. Let's go to another sound. Again, these are all Flex. As you can see, most of this project was made with Flex. This is Harmer, another Harmer, and then FL Keys. So FL Keys is probably my favorite piano that I've tried out of most piano plugins I've tried over the years. Right? Like that sounds so beautiful. And especially if you go down a bit lower. So essentially this is, kind of like a ROMpler. Like I'm just classifying it in like, you just pick the sound, you can tweak some knobs. You even have like the presets up here if you want to get a different sound. But let's go back to Flex. Okay. So again, I'm just trying to show you guys that it's just all about knowing how to select sounds for good sound selection. Right? So I don't have to do any sound design. And that is how I learned beat making so fast. So I'll play just a little bit of this beat for you to give you a context of the possibilities of Flex in pre-made melodies that I've made here. So here we go. And then we will hop to another beat with Flex mostly made. So we have piano. So I'm just going to make this full screen. And so the biggest thing that you need to understand as a beat maker when you're first getting started is that when we make beats, we are constrained to frequencies like from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. That is where we can fit our audio. And it's very important to know that, because as you're picking your sounds, you don't want to be picking sounds that are all in this area or sounds that are all in this area. You want to be spreading your sounds through the frequency spectrum to be able to make mixing easier, to make your sounds all stand out, right? Listen to this beat and just listen for all the different melodies. They all kind of have their own space. I've done I don't think I did mixing in this track. A little bit, very little mixing, just some EQ, some compression. But you can see nothing's color coded, and that means that I haven't really taken it to like the next level to really fine tune it. I've just got it ready to be worked on. All right. So what I'm trying to say is let's hit play here. So we can hear the piano. It's playing around here, right? Got the drum. So you can see the snare. This is a snare. You can see around here. So, right, my sound selection has allowed the beat to be a very full sounding beat. And again, I didn't need to do any sound design. I was just picking sounds inside of Flex to be able to do that. Right, so this piano is by FL Keys. Again, probably my favorite piano plugin. Right? So what makes it so beautiful is like the reverb as well as the melody, right? So it's a catchy melody. Now I've created another melody and it goes together with that, like it gels together, right? So this melody is with Flex. And it is in the mobile synth pluck. This mobile synth pluck bank I found is super powerful for very, very catchy melodies like this. Okay, but watch, like with the beat, it's like. Okay, so watch. So. Has quite a bit of delay and effects on, but I've played the sound to allow those effects to really cut through the mix. Right? So we come over to here. This is the bass sound. I think this is with Harmer. Yeah. And so even virtual instruments, something like Harmer, like, you can come up here to presets and it has tons of presets, and that's fine. Like, so you can still be using these types of synthesizers. You can be using presets. That's fine. But it's just something like a ROMpler, something like Flex, something like Nexus, something like FL Keys. It's just simple to use. You just open it up and you can just be on your way to melodies. Okay. All right. So that's that beat. I got another cool little beat for you guys. This one is called, I forget what it's called. I'm loading it up. My Soul Feels It. And this is a super simple beat. It's made with Flex, and I was playing around with the 808s inside of Flex, and like so powerful. Some of them are pretty heavily over to like the trap side of 808s. I really like 808s for more like melodies, and like I like the clean 808s. When we listen to the beat, it's a pretty funny beat. It's a really simple beat. Like, this is the drum loop, okay? Very simple. That's it, okay? And so what I did is one of the claps is reversed. Okay, so check this out. You come here and you can reverse a clap. And so it gives it like the whoosh to a clap. Okay, all right. So let's go to the first melody. This is a muted strat. It's in Essential Guitars, muted strat 1. Right, so I just literally pick this sound and you can start playing melodies, but I was able to make a pretty full track with this muted guitar sound. Right, and then we have this sound. Okay, it's pretty aggressive, but inside the track you will hear it. And then I have this 808, and it's in the mobile tuned 808 bass. So these 808s hit hard. And what's awesome with them is that it's not a sample. Like for example, I do have some 808s inside of Urban Heat drum kit. We go kicks, we go 808s. And so the problem with a sample-based 808 is that if you're going to go up and down with your notes, like it gets stretched, or like, so it just goes weird, right? Because it has to resample, and it's kind of gross sounding with a sample. But because Flex is like a synthesizer, you still get that really, really hard hit no matter where you're at. So like you get like the highest quality, and that's the benefit of synthesis, right? All right, so let's listen to the track so you can hear what I'm saying. Here comes the 808. All right. So muted strat. And I use this sound right here. All right, audio painting right here. All right, I talked to you guys about audio painting a lot. So for my transition, you know, most people always say don't pan drums. And what I usually say is don't pan like your main drum, right? Like this is like your main drum, right? But this is an effect, and I panned the drums and I did this. So if you listen, if you have headphones on, okay, and it sounds really cool in the beat. So we'll go back a little bit. All right, so that is literally 2 melodies and 808s. And personally, I do consider an 808 a melody. An 808 is a very special instrument. It is like a kick drum, but it also has that bass tail that you can create a melody, such as like, or so that's a little low, but. Right, so you can create a melody off of the 808. So it's a very unique instrument. So really, there is 3 melodies going on. All right, here is another track I got for you. This is also with Flex. So we haven't even talked about Nexus at all. I have a Nexus track I want to pull up. I don't want this video to go too long, but you can hear this track, okay? So I got a piano sound. So it's Flex. So I picked this sound. I think this electric piano came with this, or I may have just added the reverb on a lot. Now, be very careful with tons of reverb in your beats. I always tell you guys that, but I use this as an effect because I was using sidechain compression, and the reverb is helping pump with the kick drum, and it really is special in this track. But I just want to go through a couple of the sounds inside of Flex, inside of this project. And again, this is the electric piano. So. Let's do the bagpipe. This is a really cool sound in this track. This is like the main catchy part of this track. It's so cuts through really good. That's in the general MIDI library, the bagpipe. So this is actually a piano from Nexus. A bass, I use the bass line from Nexus as well. Right, so again, it's just all about, you know, finding a sound that you like that works. So here is a track that I have created with Flex and Nexus. And again, let's look at the frequency spectrum just so you can actually see, you know, how balanced the track is in terms of just wise sound selection. So here we go. Tons of reverb, but wait until the drum comes in. Right, pretty balanced. Maybe some harsh frequencies here. So we have this piano. This is from Flex, right? Now I just want to show you on this electric piano, I'll just hit pause here. So again, I told you that on this electric piano, there's tons of reverb, like tons and tons, like way overpowering, but I used the Fruity limiter and I used some sidechain compression. So you can see that the drum, so this is what I do. This is a cool trick I'll pass on to you. If I want to try to find out where my kick drum is on the mixer, like sure, I can see it's on 14, but sometimes it's like, it's hard to see. So I know the kick drum's right here. I'll press Q, all right? And I can see, okay, well, there's my insert. You can see that it's being routed to the electric piano. And now I can use it as a trigger to reduce the volume of this electric piano. So when this kick drum's playing, it's just reducing that volume of the reverb and it's helping the pump. Okay, watch, if I remove this, it just sounds so bland. Okay, so here we go. Very bland. Here we go, bring it back. It's just subtle. You can see that it's only like, again, always look in the top left when I'm talking to you guys with FL Studio. So it's 1.4, right, to 1 ratio. And I found, so let's just store it in its state. We can kind of go back and forth. So I found if I was going anything heavier than that, it didn't flow with the track. So watch, I'll show you if I go to like, let's go 2.5 to 1. Every track's different. Sometimes you need aggressive sidechain compression. This track, I just did gentle, and because there's so much reverb, too much pumping. We can pull it back a little bit. It's still too much pumping. So again, I just did a super gentle sidechain compression, and we'll check it from around here again. Right? So again, this is Flex. Very powerful sound and lots of reverb, but it comes down to catchy melodies, wise sound placement. You can see not much is going on in the track. I have a kick drum, right? We have some hi-hats with the bass line, and then with the melody, right? And then again, audio painting, right? Reverse cymbal, forward cymbal. It helps prepare the listener. If you want more information about audio painting, check out my book. It's on my website or it's on Amazon as well. Right? So one melody, a kick drum, a hi-hat, and a bass. Sounds super full, right? And then as the track builds, audio painting again. Added the piano in. Okay, let's just fast forward a bit to about here. So this bagpipe again is by Flex. Here it is. So quite an aggressive sound, like it really cuts through aggressively, but in the mix, I do like how it sounds. So here, the bagpipe is gonna come in now. Get some cymbals, or actually, one second. So, right, one melody, 2 melodies from Flex, and then we have 2 from Nexus. All right, and so this is the last track, but I wanted to show you that this is quite a big track for me, but you can see all the instruments that I've created that I've used for this beat. Now, this is a huge beat. It's a very orchestra type of dance track, but I want to show you that this one I mostly use Nexus. All right, let's play through a couple of the sounds. All right, so here's just a quick rundown of how Nexus works. So again, we have folders, which is just like the banks inside of Flex. You can break it down by category. You can also go by all, and then you select your preset in here. Now, one thing I want to say about Nexus and to be careful of if you are buying, so when my suggestion when you're buying Nexus, if you're going to buy Nexus 4 now, is just get like the starter bundle. A lot of their new banks, they're coming out with a lot of like BPM based presets where they have drums, snares, hi-hats and stuff. And I just like to be able to select sounds which are high quality, which allow me as the beat maker to just make my beats with melodies, right? And I don't like when it has BPM and stuff like that. All right, so let's just go through a couple of the sounds. So let's just go dance orchestra. So I like to use a lot of orchestra kind of sounds in my beats. I find that it's just way more emotional.
One thing you have to be careful of is just the amount of effects on. Now, sometimes if you're just going to add this on as a sound later on, again, you might just be able to play one note over top of what's going on. But again, you just got to be careful that sometimes the sound designers, they really add the effects on to make the preset sound really good, but you're going to have to try to fine tune that a little bit come to the actual beat. But the biggest thing that I look for in my sounds is, first of all, like if I'm listening to the beat, I'm listening for that frequency spectrum, right? So if we open up the analyzer here, right? So we have our low frequencies or high frequencies. Now, I don't actually look at this frequency spectrum when I'm making my beat. I just kind of am listening for, do I have low sounding sounds? Do I need some higher sounding sounds? When it comes to my melodies, are some of the sounds held down? Okay, so you can have held down sounds, but you can also have quick sounds. Or held down. Right? All right, so those are things that you got to be thinking about. Now, when it comes to the sound selection, I'm really big on always trying it down low, trying it in the middle, trying it up high. And sometimes you just never know with a sound that all of a sudden you play it up high and you're like, wow, that sounds so cool up there. And that's just kind of like the workflow. What's really powerful with Nexus is their ARPs. So an arpeggio. So again, I don't like the ones with drum loops and stuff like that, but they have some amazing, amazing arpeggios, which are just so powerful. And if you play the right chords, they're just like, right? And it even has a transgate section. It has the arpeggiator section. And so again, it's just such an awesome little power horse, right? Okay, so we got some flute sounds, got a bass sound, got some piano, got a lead. This is where Nexus really does shine, and I'll show you guys that. So sometimes they open up down there. You can see that in lead. So let's go all, we have lead. So a lot of these leads are just so powerful to have. This is what a lot of dance music is made off of, right? Is these types of leads. Let me just go to this preset right here. So all, and let's go to lead. And let me just play a couple of these. Right, so. Right, so when you have just, high quality sounds, just allows you just to make your beats. Right, so all improvised right here for you guys. And so I'm just trying to share with you guys, this is why picking a ROMpler when you're first learning beat making, this is where it's at. The sound design, that stuff can come later. And it all depends on what you want to do. Like maybe you like the sound design and that's fine. You can enter into the sound design industry. But if you're wanting to make beats, like I've shown you all along in this video so far, all the different beats, this is how I have learned beat making. And this is how I've learned to make my melodies. And then once you make your beat, then you can start learning the mixing and the mastering, right? You go on to all this stage. And so it just kind of works that way. It's a lot easier when you're choosing what's called a ROMpler, okay? All right, so I just wanted to show you some real world examples of using a ROMpler, okay? I understand Flex isn't technically a ROMpler, but what I'm trying to say is that you select a high quality sound and you can start focusing on your beats. You start thinking about sound selection, which then you can start learning how to create all your different melodies which go together, right? And so once you can learn that, you are truly going to excel as a beat maker, okay? So again, this is Flex as well as Nexus. They're both really, really awesome. I do think Nexus is worth the money, but what's awesome is Flex is free and it comes with FL Studio. So there you guys go. All right, so if you guys want to keep learning FL Studio with me, I'm a recognized FL Studio trainer, so visit my website, itsgratuitous.com. There's tons of training, tons of courses. I have a beginner's course. I have a pianos course that's going to teach you all about piano from a beat maker's perspective. It's all about learning how to create catchy melodies and improvisation, okay? If you ever have questions, you can feel free to send me an email at hi@itsgratuitous.com. I hope this video gave you some inspiration and really clear direction so that you can learn to make beats learn to create your catchy melodies, and enjoy your beat making, okay? So again, visit the website, it's gratuitous.com. Thanks for checking out the video. If you've made it this far, I'll talk to you in the next one.